Welcome to the State of Tech, the European edition, Wednesday, April 22, 2026. I'm Samantha Lawrence.
And I'm Bob Russell. Today, Anthropic and OpenAI doubling down on London, China's Origin Wukong quantum computer gets an AI upgrade, Alipay launches payments for autonomous AI agents, India charts a third path in global AI, the US-UAE mega data campus deal still stuck in negotiations, and European finance giants push Brussels to speed up blockchain rules. Let's start in London.
Anthropic and OpenAI are both massively scaling up in London. Anthropic is reportedly planning an 800-person office. That's 4 times the size of its current UK team of 200. And OpenAI, last valued at $852 billion, is opening its first permanent UK office in King's Cross.
And the salaries being floated for senior engineers are eye-watering. We're talking packages that European startups simply cannot match. One founder I spoke to last week said he lost 2 senior researchers in a single month to American firms.
King's Cross is becoming the de facto AI quarter of Europe. Google DeepMind is already there. Meta has a strong presence. And now you add OpenAI and a supersized Anthropic to that mix.
The interesting question is why London and not Paris or Berlin? Part of it is post-Brexit flexibility on immigration for highly skilled workers. Part of it is the concentration of top-tier AI researchers coming out of Oxford, Cambridge, Imperial, and UCL.
This is validation and threat in one package. Validation because these companies wouldn't invest if Europe didn't matter. Threat because homegrown European AI startups now face impossible competition for talent.
Mistral in Paris, Aleph Alpha in Germany, Stability in the UK, they're all going to feel this, and retention strategies are shifting. We're seeing more equity offers, more remote flexibility, more mission-driven pitches to keep people from jumping ship.
The EU AI Act is one lever, but it cuts both ways. It provides regulatory clarity, but it also adds compliance costs that big US players can absorb more easily than small European challengers.
And there's a sovereignty question here. If the core research on frontier AI happens in London offices owned by American firms, how European is that, really? The infrastructure, the IP, the decision-making, all of it sits outside the EU.
Brussels is watching. Expect fresh noise about a European AI champion in the coming months. Whether that translates into real funding is another matter entirely.
Origin Wukong, China's third-generation homegrown superconducting quantum computer, now has AI computing capabilities built in. The Anhui Provincial Key Laboratory of Quantum Computing Chips announced it yesterday.
And they've launched something called the Origin Brain Quantum Knowledge Large Model. The idea is to make the machine user-friendly, not just usable. Researchers can now apply quantum AI hybrid algorithms to sectors like electric power and finance.
This is significant because quantum computers have historically been niche research tools. Integrating them with AI workflows makes them accessible to a much broader pool of developers.
The practical applications are still limited. We're not replacing classical computing anytime soon. But for specific optimization problems, drug discovery, logistics, cryptography, the hybrid approach could genuinely leapfrog current bottlenecks.
China is signaling that it has a full stack: chips, hardware, software, applications. That's the same argument the US makes about its tech ecosystem, and the same argument Europe struggles to make.
And the timing matters. This comes as the US tightens export controls on advanced chips. China's response has been to double down on domestic alternatives, and quantum is one area where that strategy might actually pay off.
Europe has world-class quantum research: IQM in Finland, Pascal in France, Quantinuum with UK roots. The problem is translating that science into a commercial stack.
The European quantum flagship has committed over €1 billion, but fragmentation is the enemy. 27 member states, multiple research agencies, different procurement rules. China can move as one. Europe has to negotiate with itself first. Quick interruption. If you listen to the State of Tech regularly, hit that like button and subscribe. That way you'll never miss an episode. Okay, moving on. Alipay has launched an AI payment service that lets autonomous agents make purchases on your behalf. They're calling them lobsters in China. No coding required. You just instruct the agent and it handles the transaction.
It builds on the Alipay AI Pay product from 2025. The new version is integrated with Alibaba Cloud's JVS Claw and compatible with other OpenClaw agents. So it's not a walled garden. It's designed to work across an ecosystem.
The classic use case is subscription renewals. You tell the agent, renew my streaming service when it expires, find me the cheapest option. The agent shops, compares, and pays.
There are security layers. Transactions require user confirmation, and you can modify or cancel. But the direction of travel is clear. Humans set intent, machines execute.
If agents are doing the buying, then marketing to humans becomes half the job. Companies will have to optimize for machine readability, not just emotional appeal. That's a major shift for retail and advertising.
And the liability questions are enormous. If my agent buys the wrong thing, who's responsible? Me? Alipay? The agent developer? The merchant? Current consumer law wasn't written for this.
European regulators are going to have a lot of thoughts. PSD3, the updated Payment Services Directive, already demands strong customer authentication. How do you authenticate an agent that is, by design, acting without the customer present?
And GDPR consent rules assume a human is making choices. Agent-driven commerce blurs that completely. Expect the European Data Protection Board to issue guidance, probably by the end of the year.
European fintechs like Adyen, Klarna, and Mali will need to decide fast whether to build their own agent layers or risk being bypassed by American and Chinese platforms.
India is proposing a third path on AI, distinct from the market-driven American model and the state-centric Chinese model. The pitch is technological ambition balanced with societal responsibility.
Concretely, that means energy-efficient hardware, neuromorphic computing, and leveraging quantum technologies. The goal is sustainable AI systems that don't burn through gigawatts just to answer simple queries.
India has the talent pool, the software services industry, and increasingly the compute. What it's been missing is a distinctive philosophy. This third path gives it one.
The ethical framing is interesting. Rather than focusing on how powerful AI can become, India is asking how AI should be governed, distributed, and integrated into everyday life.
For years, the debate has been US versus China, open versus closed, fast versus careful. India's intervention adds nuance, and crucially, it speaks to the global South in a way neither superpower does convincingly.
The sustainability angle is also sharp. Data centers are consuming unprecedented amounts of power. If India can prove that efficient AI is also effective AI, that's a serious contribution.
Europe has been searching for frameworks that aren't just about catching up. India's approach rhymes with European values. Ethics, sustainability, broad societal benefit.
We could see genuine cooperation here. Joint standards work, shared research on energy-efficient architectures, maybe even coordinated positions at the UN on AI governance.
It also gives European policymakers cover. When critics say the EU AI Act makes Europe uncompetitive, Brussels can point to India and say, look, we're not alone in wanting guardrails.
The US-UAE AI data campus deal that was heavily trailed is reportedly far from finalized. Sources say talks continue, but the complexity and strategic stakes are holding things up.
Details remain scarce on applications or timelines. What we know is the ambition, a large-scale facility to support rapidly expanding AI workloads with American chips and UAE capital.
Part of the holdup is almost certainly U.S. export controls. Advanced NVIDIA and AMD chips in a facility outside America raises questions about who has access and whether China could benefit indirectly.
The UAE has been working hard to position itself as neutral ground with its G42 firm distancing from Chinese partners. But Washington still wants guarantees, and those guarantees take time to negotiate.
Where data centers sit, who owns them, and who controls the chips inside? These are strategic questions now. This isn't just about compute.
And the sums involved are staggering. Multi-billion-dollar facilities rearrange regional economies. The Gulf states see AI infrastructure as the post-oil play, and they have the sovereign wealth to make it happen.
While the US and UAE negotiate, Europe risks being a customer rather than a host. There are good initiatives, the AI Factory program, for instance, but scale is the issue.
Energy is the other constraint. Data centers need power, lots of it, and Europe's grid and energy prices aren't always competitive. The Nordics have an edge with hydro and cool climates, but we need more coordinated investment.
Expect louder calls for European digital sovereignty funding, especially if this US-UAE deal eventually closes. Nothing motivates policymakers like watching someone else build something big.
A coalition of 39 leading European financial institutions and tech firms is urging the EU to speed up its overhaul of distributed ledger technology regulation. The warning is blunt. Delays undermine Europe's digital finance competitiveness.
They want three specific things: separate the DLT pilot regime from the broader legislative package, raise the transaction cap to 150 billion euros, and scrap the license expiry dates that make long-term planning impossible.
The European Commission prefers to process everything as one package that aligns with its policy goal of channeling capital into investment, but it slows individual components down.
The 150 billion euro cap is the headline demand. The current limits are far too low for meaningful institutional activity. If you're a major bank, you can't build serious DLT infrastructure for a transaction ceiling that a single client could exceed in a week.
Tokenized bonds, tokenized funds, instant settlement. The market is moving. Switzerland, Singapore, the UAE are all competing for this business. If Europe's rules are too restrictive, activity simply migrates.
And the 39 signatories aren't fringe players. We're talking major banks, market infrastructure providers, established tech firms. When they speak together, Brussels usually listens, even if slowly.
Brussels is genuinely caught. Move too fast and you risk financial stability. Move too slow and you lose the industry altogether. The Commission's instinct is caution. The industry's need is speed.
Watch the Capital Markets Union debate. If the DLT regime gets pulled out separately, that's a signal of political will. If it stays bundled, expect more letters, louder tones, and possibly some firms quietly relocating key operations.
Staying with our AI agent theme, the Chinese internet has nicknamed these autonomous shopping bots lobsters. Yes, lobsters.
Apparently because they have little claws that grab things for you. The linguistic creativity on Chinese social media is something else. We've had neural networks, transformers, agents, and now lobsters.
I'm just imagining my inbox in 5 years, full of polite notes from crustaceans. Dear human, your subscription has been renewed. Signed, your lobster.
It could genuinely catch on. Tech naming has always been weird. Think about cookies, cloud, mouse. Lobster actually fits that tradition.
And there's something almost charming about it. Agents sounds corporate. Bots sounds dated. Assistants sounds servile. Lobsters has personality.
The serious point underneath the joke is that language shapes adoption. If people find a technology approachable, they use it. Chinese consumers seem genuinely comfortable with the idea of a little digital helper scuttling around on their behalf.
Europe tends to name things with committees. Think Horizon, Digital Europe, Gaia X. Maybe we need our own animal. Digital badgers, anyone?
I prefer hedgehogs. Slower, safer, GDPR compliant by design.
A hedgehog that asks for consent before crossing the road. That's peak European AI right there.
On that note, today we covered Anthropic and OpenAI expanding in London, China's Origin Wukong quantum computer getting AI capabilities, Alipay launching AI agent payments, India proposing a third path in global AI, the US-UAE data campus deal still under negotiation, and European finance firms pushing Brussels on DLT rules.
Want to know more or react? Visit stateoftech.eu or email us at info@doorzetters.net. State of Tech, the tech world in 15 minutes.